Hello, everyone. We're here with the Ask Dr. Be Good podcast, always here on Tuesdays, 3 o'clock. And this week, we have an especially interesting story to bring you, a story that didn't take place in Texas, although they're here with us today. I don't mean to sound mysterious, but I'm very excited about the information that you all are bringing us today. Just as a reminder, the Ask Dr. Be Good podcast is done to shine a light on the positive things going on in public education. And so being able to show some of the very interesting things going on, maybe not even in Texas, but somewhere else, is an opportunity that we wanted to share. So the first thing we're going to do is go around the room and tell us where you're from and what school you're from, your name, your school, and whether you teach or are a paraprofessional and so forth. All right, so let's begin with...
My name is Janet Island. I am TA bilingual in Legacy Preparatory in Plano.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is David. In 5th grade.
Good evening. My name is Ms. Chang. I am the Spanish language arts teacher in social studies of 5th grade. I am Legacy Preparatory Mesquite West.
Good afternoon. I am Miss Enid Oviedo. I am 2nd grade teacher bilingual at Legacy Preparatory Mesquite West.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marco Gonzalez. I'm a student from Naven Forest High School and 11th grade.
Okay, and the tie-in is that you are son to Miss Oviedo.
Yeah, I'm a son from Miss Oviedo.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Eric and I study in Legacy Preparatory in Plano.
All right, what grade?
In 6th grade.
And you said you were Eric?
Derek.
Derek. Okay. Thanks, Derek.
Hi, my name is Patricia Rodriguez. I'm a TA, a special education TA in Plano Preparatory. Legacy Preparatory.
In Plano.
Mm-hmm.
So I was intrigued, even before we were doing the podcast, when I went to Puerto Rico in May to interview people. I don't know how it came up. Ms. Oviedo, was it between you and me that you were telling the story? I don't remember who it was, which one of you.
I think that, yes, it was between you and me, how this story came down, how we survived Hurricane Maria.
That's right. And even then I was fascinated and always wanted to revisit that story. But then, of course, life happened and we had y'all come over and got busy with the start of school. And so I really hadn't had the opportunity to sit down and say, tell me about it. But now we have this media opportunity to not only share it with me, but to share it with a lot of others who are fascinated. I had somebody from Anna, who's works here. When I sent her the promo on what we were going to do, she wrote back and said, oh my gosh, I can hardly wait to hear the stories. So let's revisit what happened. In September 6th, Irma brushed by. Irma was a Category 5 on the way to Florida. And she brushed by and did some damage, right?
Yes, actually, Irma affects the East Coast, especially Fajardo, Luquillo. There's some towns from the East Coast of Puerto Rico, but it doesn't have they just brush the coast, but we don't see any significance damage until we got the strike by
all of you
Maria.
went right after
Yes.
Irma, because in doing my research, I saw that really Puerto Rico hadn't had a direct hit, I think, since Hugo.
Yes.
Hugo in
Since
1989.
Hugo, yes.
And so we had people like you who, some of you who were born after Hugo, who had not had the experience of a direct hit hurricane. So here comes Irma, Category 5, but you sort of dodge that bullet. Whew, everything goes back to normal for 2 weeks. And then Maria came. Maria was a Category 4. It was a direct hit. So one of you tell me what happened. How did you, first of all, what was the feeling before Maria came? At, the 3 or 4 days, they start talking about the possibility of Maria landing.
Well, when I started watching the news about the second hurricane, I just started praying. I said, well, hopefully it'll go away. It won't hit us, or maybe it will dodge us. But then days went closer, and it started getting worse. From Category 2, it would go up to 4. So what I started doing was going out, trying to buy canned food as much as possible for just in case. I didn't have any idea it would hit us that bad. So we started, I started preparing myself bit by bit, just keeping on updated with the news.
Okay, how about some of the rest of you?
Actually, I have the experience of Hugo. I was younger when Hugo hit us, but this time I have another perspective because now I am an adult. So we have to deal with the effects and the worries about being hit by a hurricane. So when I start hearing the news and seeing the European model for the hurricane pathway, I'm start to worry because it's like, okay, it's probably this is gonna be worse than we are supposing. So
That we wouldn't be that lucky.
we are not being
Irma.
that lucky this time. And actually, the hurricane strike us at first as a hurricane Category 5, then it goes by to 4. And still I get so emotional because we have to go through a lot of pain and emotional issues.
I was all the time in denying, like that's no va a venir, until I
You were in
feel
denial.
Yeah, until I feel the wind through my door. I was holding the door, and while I holding the door, the wind was through the windows and the water under the door, and I was going, this is real. This is here.
So
I was very afraid.
had you all prepped?
No.
So you only had the food that was in the house,
Mhm.
the water that was in the house.
Yes.
Okay. All right, kids. You guys remember that? Derek?
When I first heard about the hurricane that it was gonna come out, I was pretty calm by that time. But when it got closer, I started getting worried, and then when it was there, I thought like this is really happening, and my dad was screaming upstairs that we needed to fix the window because it broken.
So you all stayed in the house.
Yeah, we will stay.
Did you stay in your house?
No, well, we were living on a building, so my mom asked us to go with her to her home and being all together. So I am glad that I moved because of the strength of the winds. Most of the apartments suffer some kind of damage, and when I came back to talk to my neighbors, they were pretty scared. I found my apartment was flooded, even when we have tormenteras.
What floor were you on?
I was living on the second floor.
Second floor, and you were still flooded?
Yes. Yes, because of the winds.
So the water, the
yes.
wind through the water through the windows, even though you had the what do they call those, plantation shutters?
Yes, even when we have that ones, and we put some towels on the floor before leaving the apartment, but that was not enough.
Not enough.
And then we lost the cell phones, the communication. We lost everything. I just have
Acerca.
my mother over there. So she was in one side of the island in Loiza. I was in the other side. So I feel very lonely and very desesperada.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah. Desperate to know
afraid.
information about her.
Yeah. And one day she appeared because she was, I don't know how, she appeared because we don't have it. I don't have, yo no tenía
I didn't have-
gasoline
Mhm.
enough to go over there. But she, I don't know how, because the line for the gasoline, I don't know if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
was very,
It will
very-
take
4
hours.
hours, like 5 hours to get a gallon.
Some people spend the whole night just waiting on a line to see if there's gonna be more gasoline at that station
So that's after the hurricane.
after the hurricane.
Just like Miss Oviedo, I also lived in the second floor, and the water, would go in from the air conditioner.
Mm.
That's where it would get all flooded. And the small little cracks you would see between walls and windows, that's where the water would go in.
Goes in
Mhm.
through the apartments.
Probably some of the caulking had
Yes.
cracked. Maybe it
Mhm.
was old. you know.
Actually, the wind was so strong that the windows get opened by the
Mhm.
strength of the wind.
Really?
Yes.
The windows opened on their
Mhm.
own from the strength of the wind. Wow. So do you remember, David?
When I first heard of the hurricane by the news, I thought we were gonna be lucky this time again. So
Was it sort of a little exciting too? I can see,
no,
kids-
school, no school.
Yeah, because kids do that. Kids get
Yes,
excited.
they were excited because they didn't know.
Exactly.
Right. But then when you're in the middle, did you stay in your home?
yeah, and when the hurricane struck, I got scared and I stayed in bed with my dad, mom, and sister. Well, I was really afraid.
And what made you afraid? What were you hearing?
The strong wind, shaking the doors and windows.
Did you put duct tape or anything on the windows? When I lived in
No.
Hong
No.
Kong, when we had monsoons, the monsoon season, we would always have to put a tape on the windows to keep them from shattering if they did break.
Actually, we didn't do it, but luckily
It doesn't work.
it didn't break. It
So,
was strong.
Mark, you were a little bit older. So, what did you think about all that? Were you excited too?
Well, it was my first time witness one of these story hurricane going to Puerto Rico. But when I heard the news that Hurricane Maria was going to Puerto Rico, I was just worried about because they say that Hurricane Maria probably would not go to Puerto Rico, but when the days come, they say that Hurricane Maria was coming. It was coming very stronger, and I was worried about because I got a mother, I got a brother, my grandmother, my friends, everything. I was worried about, and then the day they come Hurricane Maria, it was the day that my life changed everything.
Really? So, tell me how your life changed.
My life changed because, you would just wake up, don't recognize your own island, seeing cars, caído, trees over the floor, house broken. It was like a horror movie.
Yeah, the reality of being in that is
Mm-hmm.
not worth, right? The excitement behind it. So, so Maria happened, and then talk to me about what happened when things started calming down, because that's when the real
We
hard
still
living
get
started, right?
emotional because Puerto Rico was going through a very difficult economic situation by the time that Maria strikes us, and that's why most of us are here, because we have to leave everything behind us, looking for need better opportunities. And we couldn't go outside for about the first 3 or 5 days because we didn't have any communication at all. No cell phones, no landlines, no anything. Just
Electricity, water.
no electricity, no water, and we cannot go to another place to another because the conditions of the roads. So we were just listening. Yeah, we start I don't know how they call in English, toque de queda at night.
It's when you can't
You cannot go
you
outside.
can't be in the street
there was
after a certain time.
curfew.
Time.
Curfew.
Yes, it was a curfew.
The curfew, exactly.
First it started 5 because since it was all dark, there was no lights, no street lights, no type of lights. They did that. The way I see they did that is to not have any crimes. So they started by 5. Then along like the second month, then they did an update to 7. So it was a bit better because we could leave work, get some food
Some
for the
food.
night, and just go home. But and also have gas because we did have generators that they do work with diesel or gas.
Gasoline, yeah.
So mostly everybody had to go out every day just to get diesel or gas.
Just to get the basics.
Yeah, make a line.
Make a
in the
line for
supermarket.
water, make the line for having some ice, make the line to buy some food.
Make a line.
Going
Go
back
to
and
the-
forth.
Go to the street to get some sign and
Some signal, yes.
signal.
Yes, had to have some cell phone signal. It's we have to go outside, especially to the highways or expressways, to have more strength on the signal. But actually going back and forth from home to work, it takes longer. So we have to leave very early in the morning and came back as soon as possible after you got all your needs or for that day or for the week.
So how soon after Maria did school start back up?
Well, that depends on the school and the area. And in my case, we have to report if we have the conditions without being seeing all the safety practices. But I report like about like the 6th or 7th day after Maria strikes.
So really, they gave you a week.
Yes, kind of. They gave you like a week to report, but we report to see the school
damage.
conditions,
Mm-hmm.
to see what we can do to start.
And how was your school? What condition was your school in?
Fortunately, my school was some strong building. We just have some down trees on. We don't have any major structural damage, but we the streets and the roads to get to our school, they are not so safe, and the school was actually without any electricity, any water.
So you started school without electricity and water?
Yes,
Kids came to school without electricity and water.
they didn't came until after 1 month. Teachers report first because we have to take care of all the structure.
So you had to clean the building.
We have to clean up the buildings and start preparing the classrooms and ourselves so we can receive students, so we can have some water. Teachers and other personnel start buying some water so we can have enough for the kids and for the personnel so they can drink water. We have school lunch. It's like a kind of cafeteria. So we start preparing the cafeteria to have enough water to start preparing some food, not just only for students, but for the community.
Okay. How about somebody else?
I reported to school. I think it was just like Miss Oviedo, the second week after the hurricane. But students reported around October, the week of the 16th or the 17th.
So about a month later.
Yes. We weren't going to open yet, but we were receiving cards under the school dorm of please open, because people
From
were
parents?
going. Yes, because
Yes.
people were going back to work, but they didn't know where and with who to leave their children. So we came as a team and we said, well, let's try and get this ready to see if we can open by before the holidays. And so we started cleaning up. Same as Miss Oviedo, we had problems with the water. Each student would bring a week a gallon of water. So with that water, we would try to make it last the whole week. The cleaning was also the same. We tried to get everything disinfected, everything cleaned. Same as with the food. We tried to want to give them a good meal, but since there were no electricity, we would give them crackers, cheese crackers, snacks that they could.
Canned food.
Yeah, and canned
Actually,
food.
canned food. It was challenging, but we were trying to get back to normal as soon as
Sure.
possible.
Sure.
We were using just those classrooms that have better natural light.
Mhm.
We were not working on regular schedule. We were just from 7:30 to 11:30 or 12 in the morning. So we have natural light, so students who have another things to think or to talk about it. Most of them were lost their properties.
Were they pretty traumatized?
Yes,
So you had to do a lot of social emotional work?
Yes.
we were mostly of us were doing social and emotional work. We were not going through the regular curriculum.
Curriculum, yes.
So, Mark, when did
We-
you go back to school?
Well, I started going school like the third week after Hurricane Maria, right?
Mm-hmm.
A week?
After
third week.
the third week
Wow.
after Maria, because they having like this program that you go like 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then you have to go home because about the what my mom say
Their
about
curfew, they had to as well.
So that was common for every school to pretty much
Yes.
go
Yeah.
just till lunchtime?
Mm-hmm.
So, David, do you remember?
I once heard in the news that the government was closing schools because they were in good condition. Well, students were getting out of the school since they were being closed because of the president Carmen Julien. She was closing schools because they weren't in a good condition.
Was your school in a good condition?
Yeah,
And so did you go back?
like in a month later.
Okay, and did you have electricity and water?
Thanks to the generator.
You had a generator at your school? Because some of you didn't have water and electricity,
No.
right? So
No.
what'd you do about bathrooms?
We had a water tank that we would have. It's like the reserve water. We would get a bucket. With the bucket we mop. We would get that bucket and just flush it down. Because with the pressure of the water, it would just flush.
And
So
we
you-
were using just one bathroom, or actually two, one for the girls, another one for the boys, so that that way we don't have to use that much water flushing all the bathrooms at the same time.
Wow. So, Patricia?
I couldn't come back to my school because was a charter, like
A shelter?
Uh-huh.
Like a
Yeah.
shelter.
they use it
So
as a
I
shelter?
stay in the district for like a month, and then I decide to quit and come here to Texas. Better
Because
opportunities.
that is another thing
There
that
was another
they
issue.
used
They
schools
bring-
as foster
they-
homes or
they-
shelters.
Yeah.
Some schools were used as shelters. Other schools have generators, like the one he was going back. But when as they passes on, they starting having problem with the diesel because they didn't have enough how do you say presupuesto budget. They actually no school was prepared
No.
and nobody in the budget have enough money to buy that enough diesel
Diesel and gas
and
for
gas
daily use.
to use.
And what did you use the diesel for in the school?
Well, in my school we didn't use generators because we didn't have, but in most schools they did have, so they would use them for the refrigerator, for the food, for the stove, which would work with gas. But at least in my school we didn't have generators.
Neither mine. So we were just working half day.
So Janet, were you teaching then? What was the condition of your school?
Las condiciones en la escuela en que estaba no estaba habitable. Recuerdo que
It
nosotros
wasn't habitable. Okay.
Ujú. La cancha no era segura porque se iba a caer.
So they thought it was going to fall down.
Ujú. Solo
Okay.
recuerdo que solo íbamos los maestros a limpiar. Había una orden de que la escuela que cocinaran para darle comida a la comunidad.
So the teachers want to clean the school
Yeah.
and to make it a community center to cook for the community,
Yes.
but then they said could not be used.
La primera vez que lo hicieron, que lo ofrecieron, no se pudo dar porque creo que de camino a la escuela alguien atacó el camión de la comida y no pudo llegar, so no teníamos comida para hacerlo.
So the first time that you tried to feed the community, probably a group of people attacked the bus that had the food because they were hungry. And so was there a lot of violence that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, they are trying to make this like a carjacking, but just to get the gas out of your car.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are not taking your car, just the gas.
También los generadores, los generators, se los robaban prendidos.
So they took the generators, they're stealing those.
The
Te
generators.
dejaban un trimmer para que tú pensaras que es el ruido del generador que tenías. So, había mucha incertidumbre, mucho miedo, porque tú no querías salir después de las 5 de la tarde porque tenías miedo que te fueran a robar o a sacar del carro.
So nobody wanted to go out after 5 because of fear of being attacked or robbed.
Yo llegué en noviembre 4 porque mi esposo se quedó sin trabajo. Él tenía 24 años trabajando en un hotel en Puerto Rico.
So you arrived here in November?
Yeah. November 4. Cogí una licencia en el departamento porque realmente no había empezado a dar clase. So, fue un poquito frustrante para mí y para mis hijos porque yo no pensaba dejar la isla bajo esas condiciones.
Right. It is hard to leave an island when it's really not your choice, right? And you felt it was not your choice, but your husband's job went away.
Un transfer.
A transfer.
Era un
So he
transfer.
got a transfer here so that you all could really, I hate to say have a better life, but because I don't want to put down Puerto Rico, whenever I go to Puerto Rico to interview teachers, I feel guilty. I feel guilty about bringing, their best and brightest over here. But I also know that, you're getting paid twice as much as you did over there. And you have right now an economically better life for you. You may choose to go back in a few years, in 20 years when you retire. But I can understand the resentment about having to come over here when it wasn't really your choice. You weren't ready, right?
Yo quería decir que el huracán María, the Hurricane Maria, take the better of me and the bad of other people. Because I couldn't share food, my neighbors pudieron compartir conmigo. And we know each other better because we siempre estábamos encerrados inside the house. Now, without electricity, tuvimos la obligación de salir and get outside and conocernos mejor.
So the good positive thing was that you did get to know your community members, your
Yes.
neighbors better. You shared food. You shared probably other things. You probably helped put the houses back together, take things out of the street, right? Working together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a ray of sunshine somewhere, right? There. So thank you for sharing this story with us. I know some of you are still emotionally,
Yes.
but you're here, and we hope things are better for you. Have any of you had a chance to go back?
No.
No,
Not yet.
Not yet?
not yet.
Oh, I like that. Not yet. Good for you. We'll probably go back in May next year to bring back some more of your peers. But now comes the time to ask me a question for the Ask Dr. Be Good show. So do you have a question for me? Come up to the mic. David?
Have you ever met a president of Puerto Rico?
I did not meet the president of Puerto Rico, but last time we were there, we met with the Secretary of Education's assistant, who was interested in talking with us about possibly starting a charter in Puerto Rico. So we have, it was an interesting meeting. I don't think we're quite ready yet. We need to keep growing here in Texas, but it's an interesting opportunity to consider. We want to give back to Puerto Rico. We've taken a lot of you. The first time I went 5 or 6 years ago, I brought 21 people with me.
Wow,
They
that's
moved
nice.
in 1 week. That's how desperate they were. And so, and it saddens me. It saddens me that it's such a beautiful island. I've been there several times now and go back every year. It's a beautiful island. And I just hate that this is happening. But thank you, David.
My question would be, what is your favorite food when you go to Puerto Rico?
Oh, goodness gracious. I like the plantains and the black beans. I'm vegetarian, so
So
that makes
have you
a meal.
ever tried the mofongo?
Oh yeah, yes. I've even tried. What is their? It's a kombucha type, but it's made. Oh goodness. If Miss Dominguez were here, she'd know. It's a fermented drink.
Oh, es como con la caña de azúcar.
En Guarapo.
I don't think so. It's not a sugar drink. It's a fermented tree branch or tree bark.
Okay. It might be with
Guarapo de caña.
No, creo que es caña porque that sounds sweet, and this wasn't
Yes,
sweet.
it's
It's
not
just
sweet.
fermented.
No.
That's
that's
right.
sweet.
But I'm courageous that way. I'll try things on the street. Miss Oviedo?
There's any particular reason that why you go to Puerto Rico to interview and bring teachers here to Texas?
Well, because a lot of people in the United States don't realize that Puerto Ricans are Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a Puerto Rican teacher with a Puerto Rican certification, they get a 1-year grace period, sometimes 2, by the state of Texas to come and study for the test. So it's a win-win. You guys don't have the H-1B issues that teachers from other countries would have. Many times you have that grace period because you're certified and it's honored by the state of Texas. And so it's really a very convenient pool to select from. So And I felt like I hit the jackpot with you, 16-year vet, right? Am I remembering correctly? So having somebody come over that's experienced teacher, certified, it's a benefit to Legacy. So, Mark, any questions?
What is the what part of Puerto Rico is the most that you love?
That's a question that is hard for me to answer because I've not been good about traveling. Now, here I'm an advanced scuba diver. So many years ago, when my sister won a trip to Puerto Rico through her work, her husband didn't want to go, so I went. And while she was having to do her work thing, I booked a flight to Culebra Island on a little puddle jumper. There was, seats for 4 people in there.
Yes.
And took the little puddle jumper to Culebra and I went scuba diving there. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be. Cozumel right now is my winner, but I love taking those adventures. And what was so funny, I was at the airport, small airport, right? And I heard kukuru, kukuru, kukuru. And I'm thinking, it was a cockfight. Yeah, they had all these men were carrying their roosters in these black bags, and I'm thinking, gosh, I hope they're not going to Culebra Island, because that was annoying. Because one would challenge the other. When the roosters would hear each other, then they'd want to fight within the bags. Fascinating. But I've only been to San Juan. Here's what I'm thinking I need to do, and I need to talk to Ida more about it. I'm hoping maybe we need to go to the other side of the island and start, because not everybody can travel to San Juan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm going to visit a different part this time, and maybe I can answer your question after I get back.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Derek.
What interests you a lot in the Hurricane Maria?
So, the interesting thing here was how people survived, how people managed themselves, and how they became a community. Like your mom said, she got to know her neighbors. Unfortunately, it took a hurricane maybe to get to know her neighbors better, to work together. Too bad it takes that, right? Because we get so busy in our everyday lives, and we don't always take the time to get to know our neighbors, just like sometimes in school, right? We have classmates that we don't really take the time to get to know because we're learning, right? We're going to PE, then we're going to lunch, and then we're going back to class. And so having something like this happen, it forced you to slow down, whether you liked it or not. So you became richer people for having gone through that and survived it. You guys have a stronger character because you survived this natural disaster. I don't know if that's something you and your parents need to continue reflecting over, but this sort of thing brings the best and the worst out in people. So it sounds like it brought the best out in y'all.
Thank you.
Miss Patricia?
Can I go with you?
I have so many people who want to help me with my interviews, carrying my luggage.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. That's it.
Well, you know what? I'm fascinated by the fact that you're getting your doctorate, and I do, and we're special ed director, and here I have a highly qualified person who is willing to come over and take a position where you get to get better at your English before actually stepping into the teaching role, which is really smart because that teacher test is hard. And so making sure that you get your English better is really smart. And so I hope you're working on finishing your doctorate while you're getting your English better, and then we'll see if we have a teaching job waiting for you next year. Janet, ¿algo?
Nada, solo quería dar gracias por la oportunidad que me dieron. Yo vine, como dije, con mi esposo y el Legacy me dio la oportunidad de trabajo que andaba buscando.
Well, good. And I hope that you're working at your English.
Yeah.
Because, again, some of our best teachers were our TAs first. I don't know if you know that Jessica Kennedy was a TA for us while she finished school. And she became almost a master teacher. You know, by the end of her first year, she was helping others because she had been with the best and the worst teachers, so she knew. And so I hope that you're using that opportunity as well. All right, well, we've come to the end of the show where I thank you for making the drive here. It's not always easy in our Dallas traffic. And I know that I made you relive a tough time, but it made you a little bit tougher and built up your character. So there's always a positive coming out of these situations. So thank you for coming.
We want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.